host for Let's Talk Sports, James Collier.
Might help if I turn my microphone around so you can hear me. I can blame Dwayne for everything, okay? Should have had that stuff already ready to go. Hey, welcome into the show this morning. Great to have everyone with us. A beautiful Saturday morning. The weather, though, it completely botched. It was supposed to have been like high 70s, and we're looking at 90 today. I'm so freaking sick of this weather. Those mornings we got up and it was in the 40s. I'm like, oh, yes, fall is finally here. Yeah, then Mother Nature decides to go on one of her hormonal trips again, and next thing you know, what are we doing? We're looking at 90 for about the next 4 or 5 days. I got a race tomorrow at 2 o'clock down in Catlettsburg, and it's going to be like 88 degrees. I'm like, yeah, this is not going to be a PR day, okay? I'm just trying to finish and not die in the heat is what it's going to be. But either way, we got a lot of stuff we're going to cover this morning. Bill Bender's going to join me here in just a few moments from the Sporting News. We're going to talk about college football. 2 questions I'm going to drop with Bill right there out of the gate. Fact or fiction? Notre Dame makes the college football playoffs. Mike Norvell, the head coach for Florida State, has a job in Tallahassee at the end of this season. Plus, we'll talk about some other teams. Is Oregon legit, or are they going to be the biggest bust as a team that many thought had a chance at winning a national championship? And now the question is, are they even going to be competitive coming into the Big Ten in their first year in the new conference? So we'll talk about that. On the other side of that, we got Travis Jones, head coach for Greenup County. Big win for the Musketeers last night over in Grayson over East Carter. We'll talk about his team and kind of what they're doing so far this year. They've got a really good season rolling. We'll look at Major League Baseball scores around the bigs last night. College football top 25 games coming up later on today. And the Borders Sporting Goods Rant of the week. I haven't decided which way to go. I've got 2 different routes I could go. I may just do both. You just never know. Let's look at all of our scores from last night. It was Ashland over Bardstown 50-13. West Carter gets its first win of the season, hammering Floyd Central 55-13. Greenup County over East Carter 55-20. How crazy is that? Our first 3 scores 50+, and we still haven't hit the top of what we had last night. Johnson Central over Breathitt County 56-35. Boyd County defeats Mason County. Get ready for this one. 3-0. Boyd County hit a field goal in the first quarter, and there was no points scored after that. Fairview comes from behind. They were down 30-20, and they beat Morgan County last night in Westwood 60-50. 110 points scored in a high school football game. Pikeville holds on for a 16-13 win over Raisin last night in a heck of a battle between 2 Class A teams. Do not be shocked if you don't see those 2 teams standing on the carpet at Kroger Field on the first Friday in December. Rowan County and Fleming County were scoreless until the final minutes of the contest. Rowan County gets a touchdown and an interception to seal it, and the Vikings go back-to-back for wins as they knock off the Panthers in Flemingsburg 7-0. Russell hammers Magoffin County 38-0. It was Prestonsburg over Lewis County 55-12, and Estill County over Bath County 21-14. We'll take a break. We come back. We're going to talk some college football with Bill Bender from the Sporting News. That's when we return here on Let's Talk Sports on the Kool Sports Network.
If you're looking for a complete discount pharmacy with old-fashioned service and excellent prices, look no more. Since 1979, Stultz Pharmacy has provided our area with the finest in pharmacy care, 24-hour emergency prescription service, free delivery, and drive-through service for prescriptions. Stultz Pharmacy continues to fill all of your expectations. They carry a nice selection of gift items. For hometown service, see the professionals at Stultz Pharmacy in Greenup. More than you expect from a pharmacy.
Stultz Pharmacy.
River Cities Builders is a licensed general contractor specializing in commercial and industrial projects, and they have a history and reputation of providing top-notch expertise through their experienced and devoted workforce. River Cities Builders also is a gas facility maintenance company offering petroleum equipment maintenance and EMV-compliant upgrades for smart payment terminals, and they offer 24 hours, 7 days a week emergency service. Call 606-473-4112 or visit rivercitiesbuildersinc.com.
Quality Marathon gasoline, great monthly specials on snacks and beverages, and fantastic service. Those are the qualities of Clark's Pump and Shops. You'll find a Clark's Pump and Shop near you in the Bluegrass State and beyond. And Rick and Brent Clark want you to know that they take pride in giving you the best prices and service, and they thank you for your patronage. Clark's Pump and Shops are a division of the John W. Clark Oil Company. Clark's Pump and Shops. Return, refresh, refuel.
JD Flooring, 2017 Ashland Road Greenup has been family owned and operated for over 30 years, featuring top-of-the-line material, guaranteed installation, and absolutely no one can beat JD Flooring's price. Need to replace your current flooring in one room or the entire house? Call JD Flooring in Greenup, 606-473-0411 for a free estimate. A call can get your house ready for any occasion. You'll absolutely love your new flooring from JD Flooring, 2017 Ashland Road, Greenup.
Back here on Let's Talk Sports on the Kool Sports Network. Let's go to the phone lines. Joining me now from the Sporting News, Bill Bender's in. Bill, I had to dig deep in the archives, but I had to make certain I had something good to come in. Welcome to Jungle, my man.
That's one of my favorites, if not my favorite hype song. How's it going, man? Been a while.
Hey, doing well. Great. It's been well. Been busy. Of course, you know, this time of year, everything kind of hits, goes from 0 to 100 in about a single week. But certainly around college football, that's where we are. And I want to play a game with you this morning right out of the gate. We're going to play Fact or Fiction. I'm going to give you two things here and let you roll with it. Number one, Notre Dame will make the playoffs, and number two, Mike Norvell will have a job in Tallahassee after the end of this season. Fact or fiction, my friend?
Okay, I'll do the first Norvell first. I think fact. I think they're going to get right today. And sometimes you have a bad start to the season, doesn't work out at quarterback. I think the equity of going 13-0 last year will surpass a potential 7-5 season, if that makes sense. Notre Dame, I mean, if they win out, yes, they'll go to the playoffs, but do we think they're going to win out? Do we think they're going to beat USC? Do we think they're going to beat Louisville? It was a stunning loss last week against the Northern Illinois team. That's tough. I mean, I watch a lot of MAC football, you know that. But so I'm going to go Norvell's back, fact. Notre Dame makes the playoff, fiction.
Now, for you being a MAC guy, you had to privately probably have to be beating on that chest just a little bit when you see a MAC team take down a ranked opponent like that. I mean, for Northern Illinois, the disappointing thing this week is it's their bye week. They don't get to play until next week as making the top 25 this week at number 25.
You know, Thomas Hammock was a player when I was in college at Northern Illinois, so I was happy for him. I remember how good of a player he was, and when I was in college, I hate to be like when I was in school guy, but the MAC was doing that on a regular basis. You know, at Northern Illinois, it beat Alabama. I remember a Bowling Green team with Josh Harris beating Purdue. I went to school there. I wasn't on the team, but Ohio beat Minnesota. So it's cool when that happens, and I'm very, very happy for Northern Illinois, and I'm still probably hoping against hope on some level that the team that gets that first group of five playoff berth comes from the MAC. The problem with that is I think there are a lot of good group of five teams. One played last night. UNLV is pretty good. I don't know how much of a passing offense they have, but they are a gritty team with Barry Odom. They're one to watch as the season goes on.
Well, and you talk about the opportunity for the MAC trying to secure that group of five bid. How big is that because of the way when the season gets rolling, we get some action in the early part of the week? That gives people just an opportunity to sit back and watch what the MAC has to offer.
Well, and the thing with the MAC, and I had one of my high school teammates texted me this one night, so I'm going to steal it from him. I'm sure Leif won't mind. He said he loves watching MAC because there's not a gap. There's not a huge gap from 1 to 12. You know, every team, every game is competitive. It doesn't come down to the talent. It comes down to the coaching, right? I know you watch that. So when you sit and watch a Toledo play a Northern Illinois or a Bowling Green play Ohio or Miami, anything can happen. That's why I like watching those games. Now, are they going to go win a national championship? No. And is it going to be harder for them in this portal era because guys leave for the Power 5 schools? Yes, that's going to be much more difficult. But I would say, why not stay? You know, you'll have success stories. Kenyon Mitchell is playing for the Jets now. He's a first-round pick from Toledo. I'm one of those guys. You go to school where you go to school, go ball out there, and they'll find you at the NFL.
Let's do fact or fiction again. I like that segment, so let's roll out this one. Here we go. First one, fact or fiction. Oregon will be competitive in the Big Ten. Number two, the Big Ten will have 4 teams in the college football playoffs.
I think both are fact. I think Oregon will compete. They look clunky right now. There's a couple things missing from their toolbox. I mean, they're not running the ball really well, and Dylan Gabriel's taken 7 sacks in 2 games, but at the end of the day, they're 2-0 with a transfer quarterback who's still getting comfortable. They're going to have an uncomfortable entrance, at least, when they play Oregon State today. Some people are wondering, why is that rivalry game playing in September? And that's a complicated answer that has to do with realignment. But I do think they'll get in the playoff eventually. The interesting games for them against Michigan and Ohio State. I do think the Big Ten, here, I'll take it one step further, since this has been I like this game. I think the SEC could get 5, and I think the Big Ten will get 4. And as of today, the 4 Big Ten teams would probably be Ohio State, obviously. I think right now USC is the second best team in the Big Ten, Oregon and Penn State. Penn State's schedule is pretty friendly. So those would be the 4 Big Ten teams I think get in. Tough part, though, is the only one of those teams, I don't think Oregon, Penn State, or USC would get a home game. I think they'd be on that back end.
Now, my question for you talk about 4, and the 4 that you named off were the same 4 that I named off as well. But there's another team that's looming there, I think, for me, at number 5, and I think they have the best option of pushing up even to number 4. And are we seeing a resurgence of the Cornhuskers? Is Nebraska back?
Oh, I love it. I love the idea that they are. I big fan of Matt Rule. I've told people all summer. So when you go to his presser at Big Ten Media Day, he's really good with the media. He brings you in. He's the son of I believe not a priest, but a preacher. His dad was a preacher. He's got that gift, and he brings you in. And the quarterback's good. Quarterback makes great decisions. Dylan Raiola does. They're running the ball. They're not turning it over. His track record of rebuilds and makeovers and remodels is proven. So here's the thing. If they can take care of business, they've got a couple of those games that they have to win that in the past they might slip up. And I'm talking about Illinois next Friday. The Illini look pretty good, too, by the way. Rutgers has looked pretty good. If they can get through those 2, they're going to be undefeated when they go to Columbus. And that the hype around that game will be off the charts. So I'm very much looking forward to that Nebraska-Ohio State game here in a few weeks. And I do think you're spot on that they would be that 15.
We've talked about 2 of the Power 4 conferences. Let's go ahead and drag the other one in. That's the next one down the line. That's the ACC. And how devastating to the conference was it that Florida State lays an egg to Georgia Tech and Boston College in the first 2 weeks, but all of a sudden you still have some other teams out there that maybe this is going to be somewhat of a new-look ACC. But is it crazy to think that the ACC may be the 3rd, maybe even the 4th best team out of the Power 4 conferences?
Yeah, and I think right now the 2 best teams in the ACC are Clemson and Miami. I know Clemson got beat down in the opener by Georgia, but Georgia does that to a lot of teams. Miami's looked very good with Cam Ward, among the Heisman favorites. Their schedule's favorable. A couple of teams could poke out. BC has a tremendous opportunity today with Bill O'Brien. They ran through Florida State. They've got a tough rushing offense. They're heavy underdogs on the road against Missouri, which is a little bit surprising. I know Missouri hasn't given up a point. I understand all that. But that was still a little bit surprising to me. So I think they're one team to watch. And just as like the ACC, it can get goofy. Florida State could still go on a run. I know they started 0-2. It'd be hard to get back into the championship game, but they can come out refocused and reset and get in the mix. NC State, same deal. So, fun conference to watch. And I do think their best bet to get 2 playoff teams, though, is to have Miami win out and have Clemson win out, right? I mean, we pay attention to the heavyweights.
How big is it for Clemson and Dabo Swinney to do something big this year because of how much he is against the transfer portal and how much that is seemingly limiting his team for what they're able to do?
Well, he's going to do it his way. I'll give Dabo this. I don't criticize him that much because I've just been around him enough to know that he's convicted to how he says, what he says he's going to do. Now, do I think they need to use the portal more? Yes. But I thought there was an excellent tweet from Danny Cannell a couple weeks ago that said, Ole Miss uses the portal as much as anybody, and Georgia beat them 52-14 last year. So I do think they need to do some things differently. At the same time, I saw a lot of people were picking App State to beat them last week, and they won 66-20. So we never recognized Dabo for when he did something right. Point, we need to find out if they can actually get back to the playoff again. They haven't had that type of team since they played Ohio State in that Sugar Bowl. So I think there's some pressure on him, but then again, we're talking about Clemson. Look at what they were before he arrived. I think he used that phrase equity a little bit ago. I think he has a lot of that.
Today, Georgia heads down to Lexington to play Kentucky, and there's a lot of soured grapes down in Lexington right now because the Cats cost them a college game day appearance because they laid an egg against South Carolina. Georgia's a 22-point favorite. Can the Cats even keep this one within reach, or is it going to look like a scene out of Rocky where they're telling them to throw the towel at halftime?
You got to watch out for Drago. I think they'll hang around in this game. This is a spot where Kentucky normally keeps it within reason, but they are playing a really good Georgia team. That Carson Beck has just been in total control so far. Accurate, manipulates the pocket well, gets the ball out to his receivers. They're running the ball. You saw ETN back. I know they had another arrest this week. That's going to be a talking point. Kirby really needs to crack down on that and start just suspending players indefinitely if that happens and taking away playing time. But in the short term, Georgia, I think Georgia rolls in the second half. You know what they say, though, and everybody's been telling me all week this is a bad weekend of college football. It's not great. And I say, well, first of all the weekends are great. And second, whenever you say, this is a horrible weekend, that's when you turn on the TV and you're like, why is Kentucky up 10 on Georgia? Those are the type of things that happen when we say nothing's going to happen this weekend.
A team that has really caught my attention out of the SEC after the first 2 weeks, and most of this came from last week on the absolute beatdown for North Carolina State, is Tennessee. That defense looks stellar this year, and they've got some great opportunities to do something in conference. They've got a non-conference game with Oklahoma. Then you're going to roll in with Alabama and Georgia at the middle and latter part of the season. Tennessee's got a lot of opportunities on the table that it can control its own destiny of doing something remarkable in the SEC.
Oh, they're good. Nico Iamaleava is really good. It's not just him, though. They have a balanced attack with a running game behind Dylan Sampson and that offensive line. They're putting up over 700 yards. They mowed down NC State with great ease, and they have a really good defense with James Pierce. So I think, this Tennessee team is balanced. Their defense is really good. Their schedule's set up. I think they're a playoff team right now. So the Vols are one of those teams that I'd watch out for if I was Alabama. They do play Alabama. They do play Georgia. They do play, and they don't play Texas, but they're absolutely going to be a factor, in my opinion, not just in the playoff race, but perhaps the national championship race. They feel like they did 2 years ago, but perhaps a little bit better.
How crazy is it to hear the words Oklahoma connected to the SEC? I mean, it's almost like an oxymoron. It's not something you're supposed to say.
Well, it ties into your last question. I mean, they do play Tennessee next week, and there's going to be a lot of that. Wow. Now it's real for Oklahoma. And they've got a good defense this year. Their defense has certainly improved around Danny Stutzman. They have a little bit of a young quarterback, Jackson Arnold. He's maturing into that role. And they're playing Josh Heupel next week, so of course the questions about Josh Heupel being a former Oklahoma quarterback on a national championship team, that's going to happen next week. But it's certainly one of those openers that I'm looking forward to. That's one of the highlights. And next week we're going to pinch ourselves a little bit because you'll have Tennessee and Oklahoma in an SEC showdown, and then you're going to have USC in the Big House with Michigan and the Big Ten opener. And I'm just, it'd be one of those like Back to the Future moments. Like, what year am I in again?
See, that's why we have to have kind of a lull of this week so we can get hyped up for next week when we get all those massive great games that's going to play out.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. And I think this season there's a lot of those pinch-me moments, but as we get into the 12-team playoff, it's going to be the payoff should be worth it. Right now, I still think there's only 4 teams that are really national championship caliber. I would say Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, Texas, and then as I was talking about Tennessee, do they throw that off? Does a school like Tennessee throw that off? Does a school like USC, they're playing good ball right now with Lincoln Riley. Their quarterback's making great decisions. Their defense is tackling. So are those the type of schools that in this 12-team format can heat up, win a couple games, and turn it up? That's the big question.
All right, final test question. This was the bonus round. If Georgia does not win a national championship this year, the new national champion will be blank.
Ohio State. I think Ohio State's loaded. I think their defense is loaded. They don't give up a ton of points. Now, can I split my answer and hedge my bets? I'd say I did see Texas at the Big House last week, and they are very good. And they have the quarterback in Quinn Ewers. So if Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, I really like this Texas team with Quinn Ewers at the quarter. He's probably the quarterback of the 3 I would trust the most.
Have you seen the video of Quinn Ewers and his precision of throwing the ball to the last one where he knocked a quarter out of the air?
Yeah, he's good. He is. And, that's a 5-star talent, right? And he's starting to live up to those expectations, and it took a while. We're so impatient in 2024. My kids are impatient. But he's a case of, remember, he started at Ohio State, had a rough first year as a starter, improved last year, and now you're looking at a first-round pick. So, I mean, it's all about development and, improving every year. I think he's a great example of that.
Bill, we need to get together and do a co-rant of the week because you just went right there on one of my rants. I talk about how much this is a microwave society. Every single thing. Nobody wants to wait for anything.
Well, my kids have to wait for me to get out of bed. So they have to. No, we definitely I try to impress that on my kids too. And talking to you, I just feel like you and I are always, we can have disagreements, but in general, we're on the same wavelength.
Always a pleasure, my friend. It's been a while, but we'll certainly, maybe a little bit down the road, I'll give you some time to absorb and study hard because we're going to do Fact or Fiction next time we do this again. This was a lot of fun.
It was. Thank you so much for having me on. I'll talk to you next time.
Take care, Bill. Bill Bender from the Sporting. Always a great time talking with Bill. Bill and I, we go way back. We connected back when I was with Marshall, and Bill's been with the Sporting News for many, many years, and we made the connection there. Bill's an Ohio guy. I was a Marshall guy. So, always the battle for the bell was always a big thing there between the two of us. But Bill's a guy that I made that connection with back early in my career, and I just sent him a text. I was like, "Hey man, can you jump on with me this week?" And he's like, "Sure. What time works?" And he's always great. He brings great energy to the show. It's just it's fun keeping those type of connections with the people that you talked with along the way. But greatly appreciate Bill joining us here on the show. We'll take a break. We'll go to Lloyd on the other side. We've got Greenup County head coach Travis Jones in. His Musketeers are rolling, and they laid a beat down in Grayson last night over the Raiders. We'll talk about it when we return after this on Let's Talk Sports on the Kool Sports Network.
If you're looking for a complete discount pharmacy with old-fashioned service and excellent prices, look no more. Since 1979, Stultz Pharmacy has provided our area with the finest in pharmacy care, 24-hour emergency prescription service, free delivery, and drive-through service for prescriptions. Stultz Pharmacy continues to fill all of your expectations. They carry a nice selection of gift items. For hometown service, see the professionals at Stultz Pharmacy in Greenup. More than you expect from a pharmacy.
Stultz Pharmacy.
River Cities Builders is a licensed general contractor specializing in commercial and industrial projects, and they have a history and reputation of providing top-notch expertise through their experienced and devoted workforce. River Cities Builders also is a gas facility maintenance company offering petroleum equipment maintenance and EMV compliant upgrades for smart payment terminals, and they offer 24 hours, 7 days a week emergency service. Call 606-473-4112 or visit rivercitiesbuildersinc.com.
Quality Marathon Gasoline. Great monthly specials on snacks and beverages and fantastic service. Those are the qualities of Clark's Pump and Shops. You'll find a Clark's Pump and Shop near you in the Bluegrass State and beyond. And Rick and Brent Clark want you to know that they take pride in giving you the best prices and service, and they thank you for your patronage. Clark's Pump and Shops are a division of the John W. Clark Oil Company. Clark's Pump and Shops. Return. Refresh. Refuel.
JD Flooring, 2017 Ashland Road, Greenup, has been family owned and operated for over 30 years, featuring top-of-the-line material, guaranteed installation, and absolutely no one can beat JD Flooring's price. Need to replace your current flooring in one room or the entire house? Call JD Flooring in Greenup, 606-473-0411 for a free estimate. A call can get your house ready for any occasion. You'll absolutely love your new flooring from JD Flooring, 2017 Ashland Road, Greenup. Cool Hits weather is brought to you by Big Sandy Superstores of the Tri-State. For all your furniture and appliance needs, see Big Sandy today.
Cool Hits weather.
You'll see lots of sunshine today with a high near 90. Mostly clear tonight, low of 61. Sunshine returning on Sunday, high of 90. Mostly clear Sunday night and a low near 60.
Cool Hits 105.7.
Back here on Let's Talk Sports, big thanks to Bill Bender from the Sporting News on the other side of the break, talking some college football. Let's flip over to high school. We'll head down to Lloyd. Head coach for the Greenup County Musketeers, Travis Jones. Coach, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. Appreciate you having me.
Hey, thanks for joining us. 4-0 start for your team this season, and you guys have been hanging some video game-like numbers up on the scoreboard. 37, 38, 37, 55 last night on East Carter. And it's not just the Tyson Salmon show. You guys are really doing it at all phases of the football game.
Yeah, we have some guys making plays other than Tyson, and that's something that we haven't had the last couple of years. And it's really nice to take some of the load off him, and happy with where we are right now.
You guys go up 8-0. East Carter answers with a pick six, makes it 8-7. You guys put 30 unanswered up on the back side of that. What'd you like for the response you saw from your team there after the defensive touchdown by the Raiders, that you guys go out and really put yourself ahead of them to where the game was out of reach?
Yeah, we didn't start off well offensively. Like I said, we scored our first drive, but our emphasis this week was to make it a game without turning the ball over, because we turn the ball over every game. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that, but I am proud of the way our guys played after that interception. Tyson just didn't throw the ball very well at the beginning of the game yesterday. He would say that too, probably his worst game throwing the ball. So I'm glad our guys were able to make some plays.
Tyson this season has been more of a balanced type of guy. Looking at his stats as you go through, you're going to get that over 100-yard rushing mark that kind of is a given with him each night. But he's been kind of keeping those numbers balanced. Last evening, 166 on the ground, 136 through the air, throwing the ball 19 times. And I know that for you as head coach, him throwing the ball 19 times means it's probably about 11 more times that he didn't have to run the football.
Yes, for sure. We kind of try to let the defense dictate what we do. So we've played some games this year where defenses have respected our pass and played light boxes, and we've ran the ball really well. Against Russell, that's what happened. Really, the other three games we played, teams have kind of loaded the box, so we kind of counteract that by throwing some RPO stuff, and we missed a lot last night. You said he threw for 136. It could have been over 250 easily. We missed some really big-time throws. The guys were open, so a lot to correct, a lot. We can play a lot better than we did last night.
A couple of guys that he has in that receiving core that he can throw the ball to and has been really solid. Jasper Davis has been remarkable over the last couple of weeks. Drew Boggs, another one of those kids that has been someone that you can go to in the receiving game. Last time out, last week, you had two guys over 100 yards in the receiving unit.
Both of those guys are really big playmakers for us, and Drew also does a really good job when we go our 12 personnel stuff. He comes in as a tight end, and he blocks really well. He's down the field threat, and we haven't been able to hit him as much as I would like to. He's got open, and we just haven't been able to connect there. So, and like you said, Jasper Davis, he provides us something in the slot that we really haven't had either. The slot needs to be a guy that can do something with the ball after he catches it, and Jasper's really good with the ball in his hands.
You talk about going into 12 personnel. When you have a guy like that one, you bring in an extra blocker that helps you with the run game between Sammons and Waylon Perkins, but also a guy that you can release from the line and get him downfield that maybe a lot of teams don't account for because they think, okay, another tight end, we're just trying to run the football, we're going to load the box, and next thing you know, you've got a guy down the middle of the field for 50 yards.
Yeah, it's big time because we're able to play 10 personnel, 11 personnel, and 12 personnel all with the same guys on the field. So it makes it tough on defenses when you can switch between personnel groups and formations and spreading people out and bringing it together with the same kids on the field because the defense isn't able to, adjust personnel to it as well. And like you said, bringing Drew in at tight end against Portsmouth last week, we hit him when he was playing tight end for a 65-yard touchdown on our first drive. So, it's a big deal, and glad we're able to do that.
Having Waylon Perkins this year kind of healthy and more experienced going back there with Tyson, how much has he been able to take away some of those runs to where your quarterback's not getting beaten up 25, 30 times a night?
Waylon is doing an excellent job this year. He's a really fast kid, and he's done a really good job listening to some coaching points that were kind of keeping him from being a better running back last year. He just had a great off season, and he's completely bought in, and it's really nice to see, and I'm proud of him and all the plays he's making. He had 3 touchdowns last night.
We've talked about a lot of the guys already that are your leaders on the defensive side of things, Sammons, Perkins, Davis, but a kid that has really kind of stepped into the forefront this year as well has been Landry Lewis. 4th on the team in tackles. He leads you with interceptions, including a pick 6.
Landry Lewis, he played some big-time football. He's never played football in his life, so he comes out this year, plays football for the first time, and he ends up starting at corner for us, and he hasn't missed a beat. He's made some big Landon Yoke's the big old running back, and we play some really good running backs all year long, and Landry's tackled him in the open field. He's the guy that, if teams are doing some tight end wing stuff and putting receivers on the opposite side, we're putting Landry over there at tight end wings because he likes to mix it up and get in there and make some tackles. He's had a really good season so far.
Looking at your schedule, I know when you and I, we talked in the preseason, and we talked about that Coal game last year when you guys came up short at the end, but it was because of a really slow start. And you said that was something that you wanted to focus on this year, was starting the way that you wanted to finish in all of your games. Through the first 4 games, do you feel like that you guys have accomplished that?
Really, I don't feel like we've done that. We've done a better job of not taking a whole half to get going, and we just haven't played consistently enough in the first quarter for me to be, real happy with it. But we are doing a better job, but we just have to, things are about to get serious here in a couple weeks, and we can't afford to not play our best football for 48 minutes.
You got Montgomery County at home next week, and then that's when the real football gets started. Ashland, Boyd County, Johnson, Central, Rowan, your district opponents. How big is it to go into that Ashland game when you get Ashland down on the farm to start district play going in at 5-0?
It's really important. People talk about trap games. I would say this week would be the biggest trap game we could have. It's coming off of a 4-0 start. It's our homecoming week next week, and we know who's on the schedule the week after next. So it's really important for our guys to stay focused on the team that is on our schedule this Friday night. And I think, if we slip one up next week, you lose a lot of momentum going into district play. So our guys are going to stay focused and have a good week.
I still think it's no secret that a lot of people would expect Ashland and Johnson Central are still at the top of the district. But do you feel like this year that there is less separation from the teams that are behind them, maybe at 3 and 4, where that we could see what would be considered as an upset of maybe you guys dropping a game, taking out Ashland, or maybe playing very tight and winning a game against a Johnson Central to mix things up in that district that's been dominated by Ashland and Johnson Central over many years?
I think we have one of the toughest districts in the state. They're really good football programs. Boyd County has a heck of a team as well, and Round County's they've won a couple games this year too. They look like they're much improved. So closing the gap, obviously we think that we're going to be able to close the gap. We think that we are a team that can compete with anybody on our schedule, but we can think it all we want. We have to go out and make it happen in 2 weeks.
The most important thing, too, Coach, you talk about doing everything in district. You've only got 3 home games remaining. You close out Johnson Central, Rowan, Fleming. How important is it understanding that you've got an opportunity to do something special on your home field? Take advantage of that opportunity.
Our guys know that. Our schedule's really weird this year. You know, our senior week is Boyd County, and then we have a bye week, and we're on the road the last 2 weeks. So our guys know, our seniors especially, the guys that are the leaders of our team and have been the last couple of years, they know that they're, you know, if we don't win a couple of our district games, their last game at home on the farm is going to be Boyd County. So it's really important to our guys, and they know how much it means to have an opportunity to win games that we haven't won in the past on our home field in front of our fans.
Hey, Coach, for the Greenup County Musketeers, Travis Jones joining us here. Coach, nice win last night. Always a pleasure talking with you. Best of luck the rest of the year, and we'll talk to you soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
You're very welcome. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll switch things over to the Diamond as we've got about 2 weeks of the regular season left to go. And I've said this for about the last month, and I am going to put it in ink today. Your postseason teams are set. They're dead. Shut up, Dwayne. Will I be proven wrong? We'll find out when we return after this here on Let's Talk Sports on the Kool Sports Network.
If you're looking for a complete discount pharmacy with old-fashioned service and excellent prices, look no more. Since 1979, Stultz Pharmacy has provided our area with the finest in pharmacy care, 24-hour emergency prescription service, free delivery, and drive-through service for prescriptions. Stultz Pharmacy continues to fill all of your expectations. They carry a nice selection of gift items. For hometown service, see the professionals at Stultz Pharmacy in Greenup. More than you expect from a pharmacy.
Stultz Pharmacy.
River Cities Builders is a licensed general contractor specializing in commercial and industrial projects. They have a history and reputation of providing top-notch expertise through their experienced and devoted workforce. River Cities Builders also is a gas facility maintenance company offering petroleum equipment maintenance and EMV compliant upgrades for smart payment terminals. And they offer 24 hours, 7 days a week emergency service. Call 606-473-4112 or visit rivercitiesbuildersinc.com.
Quality Marathon gasoline, great monthly specials on snacks and beverages, and fantastic service. Those are the qualities of Clark's Pump and Shops. You'll find a Clark's Pump and Shop near you in the Bluegrass State and beyond. And Rick and Brent Clark want you to know that they take pride in giving you the best prices and service, and they thank you for your patronage. Clark's Pump and Shops are a division of the John W. Clark Oil Company. Clark's Pump and Shops. Return, refresh, refuel.
JD Flooring, 2017 Ashland Road Greenup has been family owned and operated for over 30 years, featuring top-of-the-line material, guaranteed installation, and absolutely no one can beat JD Flooring's price. Need to replace your current flooring in one room or the entire house? Call JD Flooring in Greenup, 606-473-0411 for a free estimate. A call can get your house ready for any occasion. You'll absolutely love your new flooring from JD Flooring, 2017 Ashland Road, Greenup.
The greatest songs are always on Kool Kids 105.7.
Back here on Let's Talk Sports on the Kool Sports Network. Big thanks to Travis Jones talking some Musketeer football on the other side of the break. His Musketeers are rolling 4-0, and I've said this openly. I think that Greenup County has the most uptick of any team in that district, with Ashland, Johnson Central, Rowan County, and Boyd. The thing of it is that because of the way that team is playing, Tyson Salmons is arguably the best player in the region. He has been so much the way he's made that step forward, the maturation of going from a freshman quarterback to a senior quarterback, bringing both elements into the game of being able to throw the ball so he's not having to run the football so much. But Waylon Perkins in the backfield has helped Greenup County so much. And I've said it, and I'll say it again. Greenup County's a team that if he can get past his name across the chest, can upset an Ashland. They can beat Boyd County. They should beat Boyd County. Maybe could they beat Johnson Central. But they've got those two names in Ashland and Johnson Central. They've got to get past the name on the chest. If they can do that, don't be surprised if Greenup County wins one of those two games between Ashland or Johnson Central. We'll see how things play out in the future. But the goods are there. Greenup County is going to make a run in that district. They're going to have a spectacular season. The problem of it is that you play in 4A, and 4A is probably the best division in all of high school football this year. And you're going to have to play, more than likely, a Covington Catholic or something of that nature in the second round. If you don't end up in that 1-2 game, you end up in a 3-4 game, you may have to play them in the first round. So getting those first 2 rounds in the top half, the 1-2, not the 3-4, is huge. You don't have to be the 1. Get the 2. That gets you into a pretty certain lower level game that's you're going to be favored and get you a second round playoff game. And then anything's possible at that point. And if you sneak by and you get into the round of 8, you know what? At that point, you get the 8 best teams left in Class 4A football at that time. Throw them out on the field and let's play. No matter where it is, you'll take whatever you can do. You got 8 teams. You got 3 games left that you can win a state championship. Greenup has certainly got some possible upscale this year of being able to do something, not only in the district, but in those first 2 rounds of the playoffs. We'll see how it shakes out. All right, let's look at Major League Baseball. Scores from around the bigs last night. Orioles have faded again. The Tigers almost no-hit them. They go for 1 hit in the ball game as the Tigers win at 1-0 up in Detroit. That's big for the Tigers, who have made a big-time run here at the end. Can they get in my ink pad is the question. I'll tell you in a minute. Royals over the Pirates 8-3, so they continue their hot streak. Can the Royals chase down the Guardians? That's the big question there. They've almost done it. There's not done yet. Mets needed a big win. They've got a super big win over the Phillies in Philly last night, 11-3. It was the Nationals over the Marlins 4-1. Braves beat the Dodgers 6-2. Rays over the Guardians 3-1. So that's a big one for the Royals and the Tigers, with the Guardians falling in the conference. Blue Jays won better than the Cardinals 4-3. It was the Yankees beating the Red Sox up in the Bronx 5-4. Red Sox led it late until the 7th, and then Aaron Judge does what Aaron Judge does. He hit one to the freaking moon. I hate the Red Sox. I've said this so many times. It's like that girl that you wanted to date in high school, and she's so smoking hot. And you finally get the nerve up to ask her out. And she's like, well, I can't this weekend, but maybe next weekend. So you're like, well, she didn't say no. So you ask her out again. And she's like, well, I got stuff I got to do with my family this week, maybe next weekend. And it's never a no. But you know it's not a yes. But dadgummit, you're still going to keep asking. That's what the Red Sox have been like this year for June. It's the pretty girl that you keep asking and she doesn't tell you no. Are you going to make the postseason? Well, maybe. It's not no. No, it's a no, okay? She finally said no. She's dating the high school quarterback, for God's sake. She's not going out with you. I hate the Red Sox. I love my Red Sox. I hate the Red Sox. They've probably taken at least 10 years off my life. And, of course, you lose to the Yankees. And it's like, God, just put me out of my misery. This year with the Red Sox has been like death by BB gun on a firing range. That's exactly what it's felt like. I'm like dying by 1,000 paper cuts. Anyways, Athletics over the White Sox 2-0. The White Sox, for God's sakes, have lost 115 games. They are 5 games shy of the Major League record of 120. And I'm telling you right now, they're going to do it. The White Sox has one thing to do this year, and that's beat that record. Don't stop a great thing that you've started. For God's sakes, lose 6 games. Get the record of the most losses ever in the history of Major League Baseball. Please, please, please do that for us. You owe us that, Chicago. You've got one flipping job to do in Major League Baseball this year. Please, please, please don't cheat us out of this one. We've seen it close, but it's not happening. Please give it to us. Let us see this happen. I may never ever get a chance to see this ever again in my lifetime. I've never seen a team lose 120 games. I've seen many teams lose over 100. But this is absurd. And the crazy thing of it is, the Oakland Athletics, who doesn't even have a city, they're going to play in a minor league ballpark the next 2 seasons. They've won 30 more games than the Chicago White Sox. Maybe the Athletics should go to Chicago and kick the White Sox out to Sacramento. Oh, geez. The Reds, the front office organization has said they're going to evaluate everything when they were asked about will David Bell return in 2025. I think it's time to ring the bell in Cincinnati. They need to ring everything in Cincinnati. They need to get rid of the front office, the back office, the side office, and anything in between. The Reds, though, they beat the Twins 8-4. Rockies over the Cubs 9-5. It was the Astros defeating the Angels 5-3. Brewers beat the D-backs 2-1. Mariners over the Rangers 5-4. And the Padres blanked the Giants 5-0. Okay, here we go. Yankees lead the East over Baltimore by 3 games. The Guardians a 3-game lead over the Royals in the Central. Minnesota's 5.5 off. Houston still in a comfortable lead in the West. 4 games over Seattle. Philadelphia, the Mets have been blistering hot, but the good thing for Philadelphia, they have 2. They lose last night. They've lost only 3 of their last 10. The Mets have won 8 of 10, including the last 2. They need this series against Philadelphia, not so much to chase down Philadelphia for the division, but to give them a little bit of wiggle room there in that wild card race. Atlanta, 8 games back, 1 game behind the Mets in the wild card. In the Central, it's the Brewers. That one's done. Go ahead and give it to them. The Cubs, they're 10 games off the pace. They're not going to chase down the Brewers. The Brewers are your National League Central champions. No questions asked. That's the only division in baseball right now that I will say 100% of certainty the Milwaukee Brewers are the champions. I think the Philadelphia Phillies are pretty close to popping some champagne in the East, and that's it for now. The Dodgers, 4.5 games in front of the Padres, who have not faded this year, by the way, but they have not been really enough to do enough at the end. We'll see if they can keep it ahead. Diamondbacks are only 5 off of the pace, so they're still in the conversation there. All right, here we go. It's time to get the receipts out because I'm going to put this on ink. I'm going to give you your 6 postseason teams for both the American League and the National League, and you can take it to the bank, mortgage the house, bet every dime you've got on this, and I guarantee you what's going to happen in 2 weeks when they post it out is we're both going to lose. There's going to be somebody that's going to mess this up. But here we go. Number 1, the New York Yankees. Number 2, the Cleveland Guardians. Number 3, the Houston Astros. Number 4, the Baltimore Orioles. Number 5, the Kansas City Royals. And number 6, the Minnesota Twins. That's the 6 that's in there right now, and that's the 6 that I tell you will be in the postseason for the American League. And we will revisit this when we get into the wild card round. We'll pull this back up here on this 14th day of September and see if I was a hero or a zero. Detroit is going to come up short. They're 2.5 games off the pace. The Mariners are 3.5 behind. The Red Sox, they're now at an even 500. They're 4.5 off, not even in the conversation. All right, here we go for the National League. Number 1, Philadelphia. Number 2, L.A. Number 3, Milwaukee. Number 4, Arizona. Number 5, the New York Mets. Number 6, the Atlanta Braves. One of those teams right now are not in the playoffs. One of those teams that are in is one of them I'm saying is going to fall out, and that's the San Diego Padres. They are in that 4th position, a game and a half up. Arizona's a game up on the Mets and the Braves, who are right there at 5 and 6, volleying for position. But I think the San Diego Padres will be the team out. The Atlanta Braves will be the team in. We'll see how it plays out once we get to that point. Real quickly, let's go through top 25 college football action today. Again, not a lot of great games on tap, but this is a weekend, like Bill said earlier, you flip on the TV and you're like, oh my God, Wisconsin's leading 17-0 over Alabama. That's not going to happen. But there's always a game this week that happens. Number 4, Alabama goes to Wisconsin. Wisconsin, they're going to look like a piece of Swiss cheese. By the way, I love Wisconsin cheese. There's a place up there called the Mouse House. You walk into it, it's like the Walmart of cheese. This place is a football field long of every possible cheese you can have. I had chocolate cheese at this place. It was unbelievable. And you can sample every part that you want. There's like probably 10,000 blocks of cheese in this place. Yeah, it's awesome. But, yeah, Wisconsin's going to get rolled today by Alabama. Alabama favored by 16.5. Number 13, Oklahoma State heads to Tulsa. These are noon kickoffs, by the way. Number 16, LSU against South Carolina in Columbia. LSU only a 6-point favorite. I think this is a dangerous game for LSU. South Carolina looked really good, or Kentucky looked really bad, maybe both last week. But either way, Carolina at home today. I'm taking Carolina those 6 points. I think Carolina takes care of this one against LSU. Arkansas is at number 17, Michigan's at noon. At 12:45, number 24, Boston College, number 6, ranked Missouri, and one of our few ranked opponents this weekend. Today at 3:30, number 9, Oregon at Oregon State. Oregon's a 17-point favorite. Lay the house on that one. Take those points at Oregon State. I am not impressed with Oregon right now. I think Oregon State covers easily with those 17 points that they're getting up in Corvallis. Ball State's at number 10, Miami. Tulane goes to number 15, Oklahoma at 3:30 today. Number 18, Notre Dame at Purdue up in West Lafayette and Ross-Ade Stadium. That game, Notre Dame favored by 7.5. The Irish falling from 5th to 18th after losing to Northern Illinois. They cannot afford to have another game that doesn't look sexy. They've got to go beat Purdue by 50 if they can. If they can beat them by 60, they need to. You have to do every single thing you can do because now you need people to fall away to allow you to get up there. Because the one thing that Notre Dame does not have, they do not have a conference. Therefore, they do not have an automatic bid that they can play themselves into the college football playoffs. So you've got 4 of those automatic bids that are going out to the Power 4 conferences. Somehow the Pac-12 still gets a bid with 2 teams that's in it, which did, by the way, announce earlier this week there's a few new teams coming in out of the Mountain West. So I think they're going to go out to like 6 teams. Then you get the group of 5 champion. So that's 6 of your 12 bids that are automatics. That leaves you 6 positions left over. Right now, Notre Dame would not be one of those 6. I don't know. Bill said he thinks Notre Dame making the college football playoff championship, the playoffs, I should say, is a fact. I think it's fiction. I don't think Notre Dame makes it. I know that everybody in the media and the people that do this stuff wants Notre Dame in there. I think Notre Dame's the biggest overrated football team in history. They always get the name across the chest that they get that clout. But they're not the dominance of Notre Dame of what we knew during the Lou Holtz era. But they've got to win big today against Purdue. They've got to get that Northern Illinois thing out of people's mind, especially those voters whenever they start voting about midway part of the season. Number 12, Utah at Utah State. That game at 4:30. At 6:30 tonight, number 5, Ole Miss is at Wake Forest. At 7 tonight, UTSA heads down to number 2, Texas. Texas, a 35-point favorite. I think they take those 35 points and cover with ease over the Roadrunners. Number 1, Georgia at UK tonight at 7:30. Georgia, a 22-point favorite. I think they cover in this one. I think this game gets ugly by halftime. Number 23, Nebraska has Northern Iowa in at 7:30. And tonight at 7:45, number 7, Tennessee has Kent State on Neyland Stadium down in Knoxville. Tennessee tonight, a 49-point favorite. I think that they cover that as well. There you go. Arizona falls to 14th-ranked Kansas State last night, 31-7 out in Manhattan. We'll take a break. We come back. It's the Borders Sporting Goods Rant of the Week when we return after this on Let's Talk Sports on the Kool Sports Network.
If you're looking for a complete discount pharmacy with old-fashioned service and excellent prices, look no more. Since 1979, Stultz Pharmacy has provided our area with the finest in pharmacy care, 24-hour emergency prescription service, free delivery, and drive-through service for prescriptions. Stultz Pharmacy continues to fill all of your expectations. They carry a nice selection of gift items. For hometown service, see the professionals at Stultz Pharmacy in Greenup. More than you expect from a pharmacy.
Stultz Pharmacy.
River Cities Builders is a licensed general contractor specializing in commercial and industrial projects, and they have a history and reputation of providing top-notch expertise through their experienced and devoted workforce. River Cities Builders also is a gas facility maintenance company offering petroleum equipment maintenance and EMV-compliant upgrades for smart payment terminals, and they offer 24 hours, 7 days a week emergency service. Call 606-473-4112 or visit rivercitiesbuildersinc.com.
Quality Marathon gasoline, great monthly specials on snacks and beverages, and fantastic service. Those are the qualities of Clark's Pump and Shops. You'll find a Clark's Pump and Shop near you in the Bluegrass State and beyond. And Rick and Brent Clark want you to know that they take pride in giving you the best prices and service, and they thank you for your patronage. Clark's Pump and Shops are a division of the John W. Clark Oil Company. Clark's Pump and Shops. Return, refresh, refuel.
JD Flooring, 2017 Ashland Road Greenup has been family owned and operated for over 30 years, featuring top-of-the-line material, guaranteed installation, and absolutely no one can beat JD Flooring's price. Need to replace your current flooring in one room or the entire house? Call JD Flooring in Greenup, 606-473-0411 for a free estimate. A call can get your house ready for any occasion. You'll absolutely love your new flooring from JD Flooring, 2017 Ashland Road, Greenup. Cool Hits weather is brought to you by Big Sandy Superstores of the Tri-State. For all your furniture and appliance needs, see Big Sandy today.
Cool Hit weather.
You'll see lots of sunshine today with a high near 90. Mostly clear tonight, low of 61. Sunshine returning on Sunday, high of 90. Mostly clear Sunday night and a low near 60.
Cool Hits 105.7.
Back here on Let's Talk Sports on the Kool Sports Network. Time for the Borders Sporting Goods Rant of the Week. Borders Sporting Goods US 60 in Canonsburg for all your hunting and fishing needs, as well as the Liberty Gun Safes. You'll see Brad and the gang out there. They'll get you all squared away. Deer season's underway for bow season. I saw a picture last night. One of my friends, his son, got an 11-point buck, and it was still in velvet. Said first time that he's got a buck in velvet. It was beautiful. The rifle season comes into November. If we could ever get Mother Nature to calm down, we would get fishing that would fire up. The problem with fishing this year is going to be interesting because we've been in such a drought. Most of the lakes around here are so far down. I mean, they're halfway to winter pool. So that's going to be interesting to see how that sets things up with that, unless, we get in the first part of October and all of a sudden Mother Nature decides, all right, we're going to give you all the summer rain in about 2 weeks and flood everything. So we'll see how that goes. I think this year we are going to have a very harsh winter. Watching the leaves starting to turn in August. Now, I don't know how much that has to do with the fact of the drought, but the leaves are coming off the trees already. I mean, in groves. They're falling everywhere. And it looks like, when you look up into the foothills now, it looks like Bob Ross is painting. You got the oranges, you got the reds, you got the yellows, and you're starting to see less and less green. A lot more color showing up in those things here in the second week of September. So we'll see how things play out. But Brad and the gang out there, they get you all squared away with stuff that goes from there. Golly, I wish I had about 20 minutes in this segment. I've got two rants I really want to go with. One that I probably, if I start it, I don't know that I'll stop it. So I think I'm gonna hold it, because here's the thing. It's one that I can probably sit on until next week, and it's still going to be relevant. It involves social media. I got to stop right there, because if I don't, I'm going to keep going. There's your teaser for next week, probably. Let's go to another one. Tyreek Hill. He got arrested going into the game Sunday for the Miami Dolphins, okay? There was a lot of stuff that was said. There was a lot of stuff that was allocated. And then there was police body cam footage. And here's the thing. Both of these people were at wrong. Tyreek Hill, he was just as much wrong as the bully that was a police officer. Now, the basic fact of it is Tyreek Hill was running over 100 miles an hour in a 35 to 45 mile an hour speed zone. I don't know which one it is, because there's 100 different reports out there. One, he was driving in a 25, one was driving a 45. And the only thing of it is he was driving over 100 miles an hour, okay? I don't care who you are. You cannot drive 100 miles an hour in a residential area. So he gets pulled over. The police officer comes up to his car. He hands him his driver's license, his registration, and he says, just hurry up and give me my ticket. I got to get to work. I'm late. Just acting like a punk. And then the next thing he does, he rolls his window up. Now, that creates an issue in itself right there. I am not a police officer, but I'm telling you right now, when you have a car that, by the way, has illegal tint on it, it was blacked out limo tint, and you roll the car up, window up, with a police officer sitting there, that police officer can no longer see what you're doing. At that point, you could be reaching for a gun. Okay? So the officer then has to worry about their safety. So the officer starts tapping on the window, telling him to roll the window down. Well, he cracks the window and says, "Stop beating on my window." Well, then the other guy steps in, the guy who was always like, quick to react with my badge. And he comes in and flexes muscle, get out of the car. You know what? I'll just drag you out of the car. They drag him out of the car, face down onto the pavement. They handcuff him. They arrest him, so forth. Could both of these situations been avoided? Absolutely. Tyreek Hill created this situation by rolling his window up and not following directions. If he just leaves the window down, there was no – and here's the thing. He doesn't want the window down because he's a celebrity. Tough crap. Just because you are a famous person doesn't mean you get special treatment. I don't care how freaking fast you are, how much money you're worth, or how well you think you are no better than I am. Because the thing of it is, if I got that, I roll my window up, I get face down on the pavement, I guarantee you when I get arrested, I'm not getting released enough time to make my football game. I'm not a celebrity. So because you play for the Miami Dolphins doesn't give you carte blanche to where you get to do whatever you want to because you think you are better than everybody else. So first off, Tyreek Hill and everybody out there that says this is all about the police and brutality and overpay. Listen, this could have been totally avoided if Tyreek Hill would have just left his window down. You know what? You don't want to be pictured all over the place with cops all around you in your car. Don't drive 100 plus in a residential neighborhood. Okay? It's like the old fact of it is, you put a gun in a bullet, or a bullet in a gun, and you hand somebody the gun, and the gun shoots. Point A to point C has to happen with point B, and point B is somebody pulling the trigger. Well, Tyreek Hill doesn't want to be arrested, doesn't want to be all over social media and in the news for getting arrested for driving like an idiot. Take your foot off the gas pedal. Drive like a decent human being. And we're not here. We're not having this issue. Now, that's the first side. The other side of this is you've got the cop who then decides to come in and flex his muscles and turns into super cop that drags Tyreek Hill out, puts him face down, handcuffs him, really strongs arm him. By the way, that cop had been suspended 6 times for complaints of basically excessive force. How does that guy still have his badge? At some point, something has to say, you know what? This guy's not a cop. He's got a gun and an attitude. But the grand scheme of this thing is, before everybody points their fingers and say, police this, police that, Tyreek Hill was in as much wrong as the cop that strong-armed him to the ground. And both of those guys, if they would have just done what they were supposed to, this could have been avoided. Here's the thing. The guy that turns into the strong-arm, what does it say about the cop who was working with Tyreek immediately when he just basically steps in and takes over? Do you just think this guy's incompetent? He can't do his own job? Because all of a sudden you step in and say, just get out of the way. I'll take it from here. And then the other side of it was there was another player who had pulled off on the side of the road that were, they were calling people, telling them what was going on. And one cop comes up and says, you're blocking the road, you're parked illegally, you need to move your car. Well, then the other cop comes up and he's like, I'm trying to leave. He goes, you're not dealing with him, you're dealing with me now. What gave you the right to take over? It drives me crazy the way that you get these bad eggs. Because, listen, people, police are not bad people. I know a lot of police officers who are great people, and they would do anything in the world for you. The problem of it is that our crappy society and this stupid media frenzy, social media fed, I'm going to get on social media, Dwayne. I knew it was going to happen. We put that garbage out there, and that's all we see. You don't see the stuff when the cop goes out of their way to stop and help somebody, or they go above the. Do you understand that a cop straps a bulletproof vest on their body as part of their normal attire every single day. And every time they step out of their vehicle, they are walking into a situation that one bullet could put them down for life. We don't care about that. We don't think of it in that way. Because what happens is the stinking mainstream media takes all this garbage that we get out there of these bad eggs and we put it out there so everybody can see it. Because we feed off of negativity in our society. God, I got to get off my soapbox. I told you I needed 20 minutes. Tyreek Hill, shut your mouth. Keep your window down. Do what the cop tells you. And Mr. Cop, that you think that you need to flex your muscles in your schmedium jersey so you can see all your big bad muscles and stuff, you know what? Go flex on somebody at the beach. Stop flexing on people and being a big bully, because that's all you are. That's a Borders Sporting Goods Rant of the week. God, I'm fired up. Whew. And I didn't even get to the one I wanted to do this week. Big thanks to Bill Bender from the Sporting News, Travis Jones from Greenup County Football. Joining us here on the show. I'll be back with you next week. We'll talk all about this stuff. We'll see how close my picks are looming there in the balance with about a week left to go next week in high school or in Major League Baseball. We'll see what it's going from there. Be sure to check out our website, Kool1057.com. We've got all of our sports schedules, the blog each week, the high school football rankings across the state, and we've got the stats column there too. So we've been dropping in all the stats. Please, 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 if you don't see your kids' stats on there and you want to see them, tell your coaches, post your stats. We only take what's posted, so that's what we've got. That's it for us, guys. Have a great weekend. For Dwayne Elliott, everyone here at the station, I'm James Collier. Have a great